4 years, I taught women to buy the giant bag of spinach. The math checks out. 12 cents an ounce versus 22 cents an ounce. I said it in videos. I put it in my newsletter. I was wrong. And that's actually why we're here today, because it wasn't just the spinach. Now let's jump right in, because some of what I'm about to tell you is going to feel wrong at first. Tip 1, buying produce in bulk for the price per unit. Random bags of spinach have wasted more of my money than almost anything else in my kitchen. I've bought it approximately 100 times, and I've thrown it away approximately 100 times. Every single time I thought I was being smart, buying in bulk, saving money per ounce, being frugal. Every single time I was wrong. In frugal living spaces, we're taught to look at the per unit price. The giant bag is 12 cents an ounce. The small bag is 22 cents. The math says buy the big one. But here's the reality nobody says. A lot of us are cooking for just 2 now, not 4. The family size logic doesn't apply anymore. If you throw away half the bag, your actual cost per ounce just doubled. Buying for who you actually are, not the family you used to feed, is one of the most honest money moves that you can make. Sometimes the pre-washed, already portioned bag is genuinely the cheaper choice because it actually gets eaten. If any of that felt a little too familiar, you're in the right place. And please tell me I'm not alone here. Have you also thrown away the slimy, wilted spinach you had good intentions of eating? Hi there, my friend. Welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Sarah. I'm a certified financial coach, and I help midlife women stop spending on the life they were sold. That's frugal living, but not the way most people teach it. If it sounds like you, stick around and subscribe. My book, Fundamentally Frugal, and my free newsletter are both linked below. Now let's keep going, because the spinach is just the beginning. Tip number 2, multi-store coupon runs. Now, I used to love hitting 2 or 3 or 5 stores in one trip to stack the savings. I even taught this strategy, but then I started doing the math on actual grocery receipts. Store number 1 goes great. Then you pull into the store number 2, you're tired. There's something on an end cap that wasn't on your list, and somehow you leave with $14 worth of items you didn't plan on. Add gas. Add 40 minutes. Divide your actual savings by the time you spent. The hourly rate is almost always insulting. One store brands on your 8 boring staples, a simple price book for your 10 most purchased items. That's where the real money is. Tip number 3, washing and reusing Ziploc bags. Okay, I have to be honest about this one. My grandmother did this her whole life. I watched my mom do it. I grew up thinking that this was just what frugal people did. You washed the bag, you turned it inside out on the drying rack, and then you put it away. It felt responsible. It felt careful. It felt like the right thing. And then I actually looked at the math. Soap, hot water, counter space, time, mental energy to save 4 cents. 4 cents. And the part that really got me was realizing I'd been treating my time and my mental load like they were free. They're not. One investment in reusable silicone bags and you never have to think about this again. And honestly, it's the frugal move. Spending a little once to stop the slow drain on 100 little decisions. Seeing that math genuinely made me question my life decisions. Tip number 4, tracking every single transaction. Now, I know this sounds wrong coming from a financial coach. Aren't we supposed to track everything? Here's what I've watched happen with real clients. They spend 2 hours a week logging every $3 purchase, and they never actually change anything. The tracking becomes the job. It gives you the feeling of doing the work without doing the work. You don't need to know you spent $4 on coffee. You need to know your spontaneous Target trips that are costing you $200 a month. Track categories, not line items. Find your 3 biggest leaks. That's the whole job. Tip number 5, stockpiling everything that goes on sale. Now, I teach strategic stockpiling, so let me just be precise here. There is a difference between buying ahead on things you already use at a price that genuinely makes sense And then there's buying things simply because they went on sale. 4 cans of diced tomatoes when you already have 11 is not savings. That's money sitting on a shelf. The money locked in an overstuffed pantry isn't money saved. It's money that already left your wallet. Shop your pantry first. If you have 3 or more of something, you don't need another one. We are barely past the halfway point here. And these next 6 are the ones my coaching clients push back on the most because they feel so completely right. Stay with me because at the end, I'm probably going to need some of your help. Tip number 6, making everything from scratch. Scratch cooking is genuinely a good idea, most of the time. But the frugal living habit that doesn't stick costs more than the shortcut would have. Here's the loop I've watched play out. A woman commits to full scratch cooking. She's exhausted on a Tuesday. The plan collapses and now it's DoorDash for $60. The intention actually triggered the spending. Know your exhaustion meals before the bad day happens. For me, it's eggs. It's a can of tuna on toast. It's a baked potato and whatever's left over in the fridge. None of it's super fancy and all of it's $3.15. That's the list. Made in advance on a good day. It's worth more than any elaborate meal plan. And the same logic applies when you're out of the house. Now, I never leave home without snacks, water, and usually a packed lunch when I'm running errands. When food is already with you, the decision to stop and spend never even comes up. Tip number 7, applying Boots theory to everything. If you've spent any time in frugal living spaces, you know the Boots theory. I've talked about it in previous videos. The idea that it's actually more expensive to be poor, that cheap things break, and buying quality once saves you in the long run. Now, I believe this fully. I've taught it, and it's still true for the right categories. Here's where I've landed. I use my blender every single morning for smoothies. If I can feel bits of spinach and berries in my smoothie because the motor isn't strong enough, it's going to gross me out, and I'm going to stop using it. A quality blender is worth every penny for me. But a serving ladle that I use twice a month, I'm genuinely less concerned with quality there and very willing to go cheaper, like one from the Dollar Tree. The question isn't, is this better quality? It's, do I use this daily? If the answer is no, cheap is probably fine. Boots theory for shoes, tools, mattresses, not for the kitchen gadget you use twice a year. Tip number 8, delaying repairs to save money. This one doesn't feel like spending because it feels like not spending. The weird sound the dryer makes, the leak under the sink that's not that bad yet. We tell ourselves it's probably nothing. We say, well, let's see if it sorts itself out. And there's almost always a reason to wait. Money's tight, we're busy, or we just don't want to hassle in finding somebody to fix it. Now, I understand every one of those reasons, but wait and see almost never saves money in a home repair. It just delays the bill and grows it. The real frugal move is catching it at $80, not waiting until it's $800. Tip number 9, keeping the storage unit for the good stuff. The average storage unit runs over $2,000 a year. Most people haven't been inside theirs in 6 months or more. You're paying a monthly subscription to your past self. Those items are not gaining value. You're just delaying a decision. My 30-day rule, if it's been untouched for 30 days, make a decision. Donating it is not a waste. It's the end of waste. Tip number 10, skipping preventative health care and dental. This one doesn't get talked about in frugal living spaces because skipping it feels responsible in the short term. You're not spending, so you must be being careful. We're talking about your annual blood work that catches something before it's serious. Your dental cleaning that costs $120 and finds the cavity before it's a $1,500 root canal. Your mammogram. These are not luxuries. They're literally the cheapest version of a health problem that you can buy. And for women in midlife especially, this is the decade where catching something early is the difference between a minor fix and a major one. Treat your preventative care like paying yourself first because in every financial sense, that's exactly what it is. Tip number 11, holding on to things just in case. And this last one I want to say carefully because it comes from a genuinely good place. It comes from a generation that had to be careful. It comes from love. But for a lot of midlife women, our homes are full of evidence of past selves, things we kept just in case, and there's a real cost to that. You can buy duplicates because you can't find the original. You can't start fresh because the old life is still taking up space. Here's the thing about sunk costs. The money is already spent. Releasing the item is not waste. It's the end of waste. There will always be beautiful things to buy, but the things you actually need, you probably already have them. So those are 11 habits I've personally stopped recommending. And the better move behind each one, I have a feeling number 5 is still going to get some debate. Okay, before we go, I want to circle back to the spinach thing again. I have a confession that's directly related to tip number 1, and I recorded this video anyway. I do a Walmart grocery delivery about every 10 days. And as I'm recording this video on a Friday, my delivery is literally on its way to my house right now. But before I placed the order, I cleaned out the refrigerator to make room. And yeah, I threw away the spinach. Wet, slimy, gone completely to the dark side. And in the new delivery, fresh spinach. Here's the thing, I genuinely love spinach. I love it on a tuna sandwich. I love it in my smoothies in the warmer weather, but for some reason, I cannot get to the bottom of the bag before it turns on me. Every single time. I really do wish they made them in smaller packages. I'm just not sure how to stop throwing away food. And I'm genuinely bothered by this. So, if you caught that, yeah, I'm aware of the irony. And no, I'm not above it. Tell me I'm not alone. Drop it in the comments and let me know the solution if you have one. And if this video spoke to you, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and please watch this video next.